Hi, and welcome to this video tutorial which will show you how to create an interactive web object for OCR Nationals Unit 2 AO4, and you need to create an interactive object to get a merit or distinction. So I'm going to show you how to use fireworks to create a rollover button and then insert and import that button into Web+. A rollover button is something like this. You can see at the top of the BBC website we have a series of buttons which are hyperlinks to other pages, and as I hover over each button something changes. So as I roll over the button it does something, and then on some rollovers they will do something else when they're clicked. So what we need to do is create 3 buttons in Fireworks. One button which will be how the button appears on the site, just like these buttons here, just so they're not being interacted with, they're just being left alone. We need to create the rollover button, so what happens when the mouse pointer moves over the button, and we need to create a third image which will show what the button looks like when it's being clicked. So get rid of the browser and we will make a start. So I've got Fireworks open here. I'm going to create a new Fireworks document. It doesn't really matter about the size to begin with, so I'm just going to make sure that my canvas is transparent and click OK, and that's the size that's come up. If yours looks different it doesn't matter too much. I'm going to use a built-in shape from Fireworks' shape gallery over here. So when you hover over the vector shapes and click the little down arrow there, you've got a list of built-in shapes. Now rounded rectangle works really well as a button. So what I'm going to do is I've selected rounded rectangle and I'm going to just draw my rectangle on the page. I can give it a solid background color like that, so I can just change the shape, the color of my button like that, or I can use an image from one of these shapes in the styles library over here, and you can see when I've used this blue fill here it gives it like a shine and a 3D effect, so it looks more like a button. The next thing I need to do when I've created my basic button shape is add text to it. Now it's very important that you don't create a rollover button that takes you to one of the pages that your nav bar does. There's no point having a button that performs the function of another button that's already on the page. So I'm going to use the example of a home page rollover, but you shouldn't do that. You should choose an external hyperlink or something like that which isn't already being used on your web page. So I'm going to click the text tool, draw a text box over the top of my button, and I'm going to choose a font. Because it's a button I want something quite chunky and clear. I quite like that woodchuck, so I'm going to type home, and I can just select and improve the appearance of the text just as if I was editing text in Word or something like that. So make the button a little bit bigger, and there is my basic button. That's the one, that's how it will look when the page loads. So what I need to do now is get rid of all this extra background. So I'm just going to click on the canvas, choose fit canvas, and there, that looks a lot neater. So when you've created your first button you just go File, Save As, and I'm going to call this one Rollover Up, and it's important that you give it a name that you'll remember. So up shows me that's what the button's like in its up state. So what I'm going to do now is create 2 more buttons, and this is very easy because we're going to base the other buttons on this one. So using my pointer tool, I'm going to select that button, copy it, File, New, and it will automatically now set my canvas to the right size. Paste that button in, and I need this button to look slightly different, so I'm going to click on the text and I'm going to make the text white. Now you could easily change the background or the text and the background, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to call this one Rollover Over, because this is what the button will look like when the pointer's hovering over it. So I click Save there. Now I need to do one more. I'm going to go File, New, and again the canvas is the right size. Paste it in. I could have copied the other one if I'd wanted to, it doesn't matter too much. So I'm going to make the text white again, and this time I might choose a different background. So there you go, when I click on it, the whole colour of the button will change. So I'm going to call this one Rollover Down, and then I'm going to save that. So that is all you need to do in Fireworks. For the next part of the tutorial, we're going to work in Web Plus, and we're going to look at how to insert the button as a working rollover into Web Plus. So I'll just pause the tutorial while I get my website ready. Okay, so we're back in Web Plus now, and we're going to insert the buttons so that they work as rollovers. Now what I've also done is copied a hyperlink to the clipboard so I can show you how to put a link to the buttons, attach a link. So what I need to do is navigate to the right page of where I want the buttons to appear. I'm just going to put it on the home page. Okay, so from the Web Plus menu I go Insert, and then I go Web Object, and I need Rollover, not Pop-Up or Draw Plus Rollover, just Rollover. And the first thing you see is here, that's where we put the hyperlink, so where we want the button to go. So I'm going to click Set, and even though I said it was going to be for the home page, I'm going to use it for an external link just as an example. So I'm going to go to Internet page, and I'm just going to link it to the BBC page just to show you how it works. I'm going to make sure it goes to a different window so it doesn't overwrite my website, and click OK. Now what it wants me to do is to find the three buttons that I'm going to use as button up, over and down. So I'm going to browse on my network area, and what I'm going to try to do is find my three buttons, and here they are. So Rollover Up goes in there, Rollover Over I'm using for over, and Down I'm going to use Down. I'm not going to bother with Down and Over, you don't need to do that. I want the initial rollover state to be normal, so I don't want either these buttons to appear, I want it to appear normal like this, and then I click OK, and then it will ask me, well, let me put the button where I want it. So I'm going to just draw the button so it's there. Not ideal, but this is just a demonstration. So that's right, I'm happy with that, and I'm going to go to File, Preview Site. Let's try and preview it in Chrome, and there my buttons appeared, and you can see when I hover over it, it's changing. And let's see what happens when I click on it. And there, did you see that? It worked. It changed to the yellow button. Okay, and it's opened up that site. So if I go back, let's look at that again. Hover, click, and the rollover works. So to recap, what we've done. We've gone into Fireworks and we've created 3 identical buttons. The buttons are identical except you make a minor change to each one, which will reflect how you want it to change each time. We've copied and pasted the button to make sure that it's exactly the same size so it looks like nice and neat. We've saved the 3 buttons as up, over and down, or normal, over and down. Then we've copied a hyperlink to the clipboard, and within using the rollover tool in WebPlus, we've inserted the hyperlink and embedded the 3 images for our rollover. It's quite a simple process. You might want to watch the video again, but you shouldn't have any trouble creating buttons of your own.